Hello, Grant Wiley here from Worthington Publishing, here to bring you another Grant's Game Corner game review. Today we're going to do one that I wasn't planning on doing, but after doing the update on Tunisia, I want to show you Holdfast Easfront. This is another one of the Holdfast games. We actually have 6 of these, I believe, counting Tunisia coming up. This is Holdfast Easfront. It's a remake of our Holdfast Russia, which was the first Holdfast game. So before I go into this, let me just say, guys, if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more like this, go below, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button when we do updates, which I plan on doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You'll be notified as soon as the video comes up. You can pop out, take a view, and give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Haha. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see, and I'll be happy to do that. Just as a note, we're going to be sending out coupon codes to subscribers on here and our Twitter. I've already given away 2 games to Katie Adley and Blighty Gamer on our Twitter account. We're already shipped out Blighty. I got to ship out Katie's game coming up. So follow us on Twitter, subscribe here, and you'll get to see more of the video content, some coupons, some prizes given away. We'll be doing reviews at conventions with other companies and things like that. My next update will be Friday, and my current plan is to review Quartermaster General. And if you haven't played it, it's a brilliant game. It covers World War II in a way I never expected. And great game, but I'll talk about that on Friday. First, I'm going to talk about Holdfast Easfront. Again, we're going to launch Holdfast Tunisia in 2 weeks on Kickstarter, about 2 weeks thereabout. Actually, I think it's going to be a week and 5 days. We normally launch on Mondays. But Holdfast Easfront, our first Holdfast game, Holdfast Russia, was a game that covered the 1941-1942 Eastfront campaign between Russia and Germany. We updated it after we sold out to Holdfast Easfront. What this covers is the entire 1941 to 1945 campaign between Russia and Germany. The box you get is our 11.5 by 11.5 inch box. 2.5 inch size, nice and sturdy. I think you could use it as furniture if you wanted to. Inside the box, what you're going to get is a hard mounted board, and I'll show you that in a minute because I'm going to show you a little bit of gameplay. 2 sets of blocks, gray for the Germans, haha, red for the Russians, surprise. 2 player aid cards. And this is just one of them. I got the other one sitting on the other side. One side German, one side Russian. But you get 2 of these. You get a label sheet, okay, with all the labels you need for the German and Russian armies from 1941 to 1945. And an 8-page color rule book. Now, the 8 pages is a little deceiving. This game clocks in at probably about 5.5 pages of actual rules. Lots of graphics. The front's the cover. The last page and a half is historical commentary and design notes. This game is lean and mean. You can play it in 3 to 5 hours, 5 for probably the whole war, 3 for the original 1941-1942 scenario. Let me get into a little bit of the meat of gameplay. I'm not going to say, well, I am going to say, you should go out and buy this game. This is a good game. This is probably one of my proudest designs. You know, me and Mike both put a lot of time into this and really enjoyed designing it. We hope it pays a little bit of homage to games like Russian Campaign and Stalingrad. You know, nice, simple, clean games. But let me go ahead and show you a little bit of gameplay. You're going to get to see my hands and less of my face, so that'll probably work out better for you in the long run anyway. Okay, back with you. What you see here is the hard-mounted game board you get with Holdfast Easfront. 4 dice, and again, extra player aid card. The basis of the game is each turn, each side gets resource points. Now what this represents is the command structure and the supply structure of the armies at the time. The Germans start out with a little bit of advantage in 1941. The Russians slowly build until eventually they overtake the Germans. Typical resource points range from anywhere from 10 to 18 resource points in a turn. The Russians get a little extra on the first winter turn in 1941, and the Germans get a little extra in the spring 42 turn, representing each of their spring and winter campaigns. The Russians and Germans can both lose resource points if they lose certain cities. If the Germans lose, if the Russians lose Sevastopol, they lose 1 resource point every turn unless they take it back. Stalingrad is 3 resource points. Leningrad is 2, and Moscow is 4. The Germans win automatic victory by taking Leningrad, Moscow, and Stalingrad. A little bit of an homage to the original 1960s Stalingrad. But they also win at the end of the 1941-1942 turn if they can control 2 of the 3. And this also greatly reduces the Russian resource points. I believe at that point the Russians have 16 resource points. Moscow and Leningrad are worth 6 alone. So at 6, losing 6 resource points, driving them down to 10 would definitely hurt. Now what you can do with the resource points, at the start of each turn, you can add replacements to units on board or bring back eliminated units using your resource points. It gets more expensive to bring back an eliminated unit than to merely add steps to a unit on board. You have to do this before you begin your turn of moving and attacking, and this really places a premium on planning and being a good commander. You've got to spend those resource points wisely. If you don't, you can end up with resource points left unspent at the end of the turn. Now, resource points after you do replacements are spent to move and attack with units. Supply is critical in this. And you have to maintain your supply lines. And how supply is treated is your units for the Russian have to be able to trace 5 hexes to a city that can trace 5 hexes to a city, to so on off the east edge of the board. The Germans have to be able to trace 5 hexes to a city, 5 hexes to a city, 5 hexes to a city off the western edge of the board. This represents your supply line. If it's cut by enemy zone of control without a friendly unit in it, then at the end of your turn, your unit would be eliminated. This unit is surrounded by enemy zone of control. He cannot trace all the way back to a city off the board. He would be eliminated at the end of the German turn. That's just the real quick down and dirty on supply. It can vary from game to game. We have a Holdfast Pacific and Atlantic that do not have the supply line feature for the navies. However, Holdfast Korea, Holdfast Russia, and Holdfast Tunisia all will have that feature. The basics of the Holdfast system. You have armor units, which are the German cross with a tank tread or the Russian star with a tank tread under it, and infantry. A German cross, a Russian star. Units are rated from between 1 to 4 strength points. This is a 4. He can be rotated lower due to combat or raised up with replacement points. You can spend these resource points to activate units to move and attack in any order. And I'm going to give you an example. I have set up the board here in a little bit of a setup here with some German armor, Russian armor. We're going to say the Germans have 10 resource points. I have a German armor unit here. German armor unit here and a German infantry here. I'm going to say the Germans start with 10 resource points. And we're going to move this German armor unit here. Now it costs 2 to enter woods and 2 to enter or move through an enemy zone of control for each hex entered in a hex around an enemy unit. So that would be 2. I'm entering this unit zone of control. Rivers don't have any effect on movement. 4. I'm entering this unit zone of control. 6. This unit's moved 2, 4, 6, 3 hexes around this Russian unit. That's one of my resource points. I'm going to spend another resource point to activate this infantry. He's going to go 2, 4. So now he's moved. And I'm going to turn him a little counter corner there to show that they've moved. I'm now down to 8 resource points. These 2 German units have not moved. Now, I'm going to spend a resource point to attack this Russian unit with as many units or as few units around him as I want. And I'm going to use these 3 units for 1 resource point to attack this Russian. Russian infantry roll a maximum die equal to their highest SP. So this unit would roll 3 dice, whether he's at 1 strength point or 3 strength point. German infantry always roll 3 dice. German armor and Russian armor always roll 4 dice, regardless of their strength. So let's conduct this attack. I'm going to turn these 2 units to show that they will have attacked and moved. They can only do each in a turn. So for 1 resource point now, driving me down to 7, I'm going to attack with a German armor, that adds 4 dice, a German infantry, that adds 3 dice, and another German armor. That's 4 and 3, 7, and 4, 11. So I'll roll 11 dice at this Russian unit. I turn this German unit to show that he's attacking. This Russian unit is a 2 strength unit. He'll roll 2 dice in combat. When you roll, you're targeting enemy units. You don't target specific units. So when he rolls, he'll roll 2 dice, and if he rolls a 5 or a 6, he hits a German unit. 6s are always applied to enemy armor. 5s are applied to infantry. He rolled a 3 and a 4. There are no hits. If he had rolled a 6, the hit would not have been able to be applied to the infantry. It would have to be applied to the German armor. The Germans have 11 dice, and he will hit on 5s or 6s because that's what infantry are hit on. So I roll 1 5, I roll a 6. This unit's eliminated. He's removed from the board. Now, that places these units immediately in supply. 1, 2, 3 to a supply city, 1, 2, 3, 4 to a supply city, and so on off the edge of the board. Now, I've spent 3 resource points and moved 2 units and attacked with 3 units. I'm going to now move with this German armor with 1 more resource point and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It costs 2 to enter woods. This unit's now driven well deep into the Russian unit's line. What the resource points and the movement and attack in any order allow to happen is blitzkrieg. And blitzkrieg is from World War II on to modern combat, really. It's the commingling of armor and infantry and artillery and air support. There are air units in this game, and what they do is they add 2 dice to any combat. You have 3 for the Germans, you have 2 eventually for the Russians, and they are affected by weather. During snow or mud, there are no air units available. So that gives you just a brief. I'd still got 6 more resource points to spend with the Germans. You know, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4 with this unit and attack here. You have a lot more units than this normally on the board. I just wanted to set up an example for you. And I hope this gives you some idea on how this plays. So guys, that's about it for today. Be looking for my next video on Friday, September 13th, September 15th. And hopefully that day I'm going to do a review of Quartermaster General by Grigling Games. An absolutely brilliant game. Be sure to go down below, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to seeing you again. And as always, happy gaming.